What's up, y'all? Polo Sports Talking Entertainment. Here again with another one. Be sure to hit that like button, sub to the channel if you're not a member, and also hit the notification so that you're able to get all of my content and as well as all of my videos. Now, uh, recently in Heat Nation, Marquis Morris had just returned to the court after months from suffering the injury when he was pushed by Nikola Jokic in that game. Now I know I have his brother up there, but I'm trying to make a point here. Now Morris had came out and basically stated, Markeith did, and he stated that, quote, there's some things that happen on the court that are between players and there's respect between the lines. He went on and he said, and this is what he was talking about of his foul that led to Joker's shove. And he continued on and he said, quote, I fouled because I'm a hard-nosed player. I'm not giving up anything for free. I'm not fouling to try to hurt somebody. I've never been that guy. I got nothing but the utmost respect from players. They all know that. If I wanted to foul and hurt somebody, I would have done that. End quote. Now, many other people disagree with Morris's take, including the Nuggets fans, um, and they're not happy about it. And really, they're not happy about the Morris's reputation that they have for being dirty players. Okay. Now you see this right here. What's up with it, True Viking? I see you in the building too, by the way. You see this play right here when his brother uh, had clothesline Ja Morant. Okay. And that right there, that's just a dirty play. Okay. That's just a dirty play. There is a difference. All right. Let's take it, let's take it back to the time period. Okay. Um, look, and look, I want to say with Markeith and Marcus, they're valuable players to their teams, and in terms of basketball, I give them respect in terms of what they bring to the table playing wise. But what I'm not going to condone is dirty play. There is a difference between hard nosed play and dirty play. This right here, what you see right here, what Marcus Morris did, that's a dirty play. And also the reason why Jokic, what a lot of people don't understand is that Jokic had a reason because Marcus Morris had did something, to his ribs. And that right there, that could have that could have been potentially, it could have did a lot for Jokic. It could have hurt him real bad. So I don't blame Jokic for pushing him. And the fact that he says, "Okay, I'm not out here to do things on purpose." Yes, you are. We know your reputation. Okay, it doesn't take anything away from you being like in terms of what you bring to the table, but you have the reputation for being dirty. Okay, now this I'm bringing up this subject before I go back into time. I'm bringing up this subject because we're just talking about the injury that took place with Steph Curry. And as you know, a lot of people have blamed Marcus Smart for the injury that Stephen Curry suffered, that's going to leave him out indefinitely until roughly mid-April when the playoffs are going to begin. And many people feel like he did that, on purpose. But I'm here to let you know that there is a difference. Marcus Smart, yes, they put a reputation of him being dirty and him doing cheap shots, things of that nature. But Marcus Smart, in my eyes, hasn't done that. Now, are things going to get a little chippy at times and physical? Of course. But I've never seen Marcus Smart do something to the magnitude of what Grayson Allen did to Alex Alex Caruso. That's dirty. All right, that's dirty. Or what Marcus Morris did to John Morant. That's dirty. Because the way that John Morant and the way that he is and the way that he jumps and the way that, his body sometimes is like while he has body control and he's able to control his body, sometimes he's out of control when he jumped because he's such a freakish athlete for his size. And he's not that heavy. He's real light. And so a guy like Marquis Morris, who's clearly taller and has a little bit more bulk on him, a little bit stronger, and has been, he's got pretty much his man strength in terms of being in the NBA for quite some time. He's gonna knock a player like John Morant down to the floor, and ultimately it could cause some bad things to happen. Now we thank God that it didn't, but that's just that's just the reality of it. But to go back way back when, physical play especially when we talk about basketball, has always been really the bread and butter. It was the bread and butter really of the old NBA. Now, what made it in a lot of people, I would say in a lot of people's eyes, more, I guess you could say, there was a lot of finesse involved and less physicality is when, the ABA and the NBA had merged together because the NBA pretty much stole like they do everybody else's concept. They they pretty much took everything away from the ABA and then they finally merged. And I just think a lot of people need to pay homage to the ABA. But that's a whole nother story. I'm going to talk about that also as well. But the thing about it is what you have to realize is that, physicality was once something that people gravitated towards. Okay. And they also gravitated towards, I know a lot of guys that I talk to that are older, they kind of miss that physicality, the banging, guys getting into shoving matches, and when punches are thrown too. Now, way back when, you know, 9 times out of 10 when they would fight and they would get into it, teams would be separated. Guess what? They'll throw a tech to both of those guys, and guess what? But those guys would continue playing, and you still had to play against the guy that you might have gotten to a fight with. Now, there were certain guys that you really didn't mess with, like and just because they were quiet, it didn't necessarily mean that these guys wouldn't whoop your ass, right? Two people that I could think of right off the top of my head are, of course, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Robert Parrish, which, those guys, they were no nonsense, but, if you mess with them, then they were going to be front line all day, or if you fouled them real hard. Um, and I'm not trying to go off the rails here, but the thing about it is that when we talk about good hard nosed players, um, what comes to mind? or some of the players that come to mind, just in my opinion, going from all the way back now to, or back then to now. When you think of hard nosed players, you think of like a Dave Cowens or a John Havlicek. Uh, you think of a Wes Unseld. Uh, you think of, man, you know, like Anthony Mason, who could also score and everything, but he was a hard nosed player. Xavier McDaniel, of course. Even though they were known to be, kind of, but they would give hard fouls and stuff like that, but they also took the licks too as well. But it was more physical. Like, okay, I'll put it to you like this: if you couldn't continue to just go to the rack and go to the rack and go to the rack and just score at will without them, sending a message to you or whatever. And see, then that's when the enforcers, would come, step in and kind of take lead and take charge to defend whoever you were trying to possibly end their career or hurt them really bad. But nowadays you don't really have that much anymore. You don't you know the game is less physical. Okay, now to some to me saying that, okay, when you get out there and everything, then you'll find a difference. But I'm talking about, like, in terms of physical of when I play, there is a big difference. There is a big difference. And the amount of, like, cheap shots and stuff like that guys used to throw, it's not as bad as it once was, though. But things like this did happen quite a bit. And a guy that used to have that type of reputation is a guy like Bill Lambier. Right off the top, it makes me think of it makes me think of arch rivals. It was an old video game called Arch Rivals, and pretty much you just had to you just had to punch that guy or elbow that guy in order to get the ball, and that's how you won the game and stuff. But Mar- Marquis Morris knows what he did wrong. He knows he's wrong, and he knows he was out of line, and so does Marcus Morris. They clearly have reputations that are stuck to them, and people are going to perceive them as dirty players. Now, I don't agree with Marcus Smart being a dirty player. Now, dirty players to me are guys like Bruce Bowen. Now, Bruce Bowen, he was a great defender, but he was still a dirty player. If you're sitting there and you're taking guys' feet out and you're doing stuff to them like while they're in midair that can ultimately, cause something to their leg or something like that, that's dirty. And you're not helping those guys up or something like that. That's not right. you know, because if the guy is just better than you or quicker than you or jumps higher than you is more athletic than you, look, you have to take that up with the Most High and ask him why, or ask the universe why why didn't you bless me with the genetics to do that? But you can't inflict that type of pain on somebody else. Um, Zaza Pachulia, that was messed up what he did to Kawhi Leonard. Okay, that was a dirty play. He's been known to be dirty as well. You know, uh, John Stockton. Is as great as a point guard that John Stockton was, he did throw a lot of cheap shots, and he was, but I think Stockton knew who to mess with and who not to mess with, because sometimes, like, when you could just bully a person, and let's say it's like a rookie or somebody like that just coming into the league or something, sort of like what Patrick Beverly was doing to Alonzo Ball. Now, what Lonzo what Patrick Beverly was doing to Lonzo Ball when he first came in, that was just good, hard no defense. Like Patrick Beverly, okay. Now, while he's been known to be a hard nosed player, at times he could be dirty too. Like what he did to Russell Westbrook, that wasn't right, man. That was a dirty play. And then also what he did to uh, Chris Paul or CP3, making him damn near almost pretty much end his career, by undercutting that man. That was a dangerous play too. Last season when he played for the Clippers. But there's a difference. There's a difference between all of them. Now, of course, you're gonna have your rival games. You don't really. That's something that you don't really see that much now. As much we want to sit up here and say we don't like dirty plays and all that other stuff. Nobody wants to see anybody get hurt, but you love a good physical game. What's up with it, Kev Foster? I see you in the building. You you love good physical natured games, and you also love good grudge matches. You know, a good rival is what you want to see in sports. But you don't really see that as much as you once did. I kind of see a little bit of that brewing, like especially when we talk about the Brooklyn Nets and the Philadelphia 76ers. I was having a conversation with some people, and I was saying that could potentially turn into a heated rivalry because, okay, for one, they're in the East, all right, and for two, you have players that have played with one another and they know each other, and there's some bad blood too as well. And also, you got to think of the rival from a rival aspect of who's the better player between KD and Joel Embiid, that sort of thing. And so I do want the rivals to come back. I want you want to see good physical nature game, but you don't want to see anything get out of hand. But unfortunately, that's what takes place. That's what comes with it. Some guys are just gonna do some stuff to to kind of throw a wrench in everything, and then next thing you know, that that guy's not gonna like it. That teammate's not gonna like it, so he's gonna step forward, which is what you're supposed to do. And even even if you feel like your teammate is wrong, it's kind of like when you're in a relationship or you're in a marriage, and your wife or your husband, they might they might have started some shit or whatever, but guess what? You like, look, I'm not gonna let my wife, or you know in a man's case, or in a woman's case, I'm not gonna let my husband get beat up by anybody else, or no, I'm gonna ride for him whether he's right or wrong, and then we'll settle the rest once everything is all said and done. But when you go to war, you just got to go to war, and that's usually what it is. But like I said, man, I want to be very clear that there is a big difference between dirty play and good hard nosed play. Now, Patrick Beverly, he, like I said, he's had that reputation of being a hard nose and a pest and everything. But at the same token, you also have to talk about some of the things that he's done over the past. And one of the things that he did was, cause an injury to Russell Westbrook, while we're on the subject and while that was one of the games that was played yesterday, you know. But, Marquis Morris, he knows what he did. The Morris brothers, they know what they're doing. They're not saints, they're not angels and everything. And for you to come out and for you to make a statement and say that you don't mean for anybody to get hurt or anything like that, I just seriously doubt that. I seriously doubt that, you know, because the game, really honestly, the game was meant to be, physical. It wasn't it wasn't because that's why a lot of guys from football, they tend to play, they'll play football because they say that basketball is too soft. I remember when Allen Iverson, he had said the reason why, because Allen Iverson's first love was football, and he pretty much has stated, he said that the reason why he wanted to play football is because he said basketball was too soft. And you got to think about it. You're talking about back then when the game was still relatively physical in a lot of people's eyes, you know. But like I said, man, it's a clear difference between the, the hard nosed player, the guy that, that's going out there where he's rough, rugged, or what have you, and then a just a dirty player like Jimmy Butler, okay, for instance. He's just a good hard nosed player. He's not dirty, okay. He's not dirty. Kawhi Leonard, all right. He's a good hard nosed player when he was playing. Just love to play defense, right? But he doesn't do dirty plays and try to end people's careers. Um, Nicholas Batum. Okay, Nicholas Batum. He's a hard nosed player. Biombo, with Phoenix. He's a hard nosed player. Not a dirty player. Um, Trying to think of some guys right now who are good, just hard nosed player. Like, okay, Daniel Theus. He's not a dirty player. He's just, for the Boston Celtics. He's just a hard nosed player. Even Robert Williams, Jaren Jackson Jr. Guys like this. They're hard nosed players. They're not dirty players. But the Morris twins and Patrick Beverly, and I know some people still, they'll put Chris Paul in there. They can be dirty players, and that's one of the reasons why Chris Paul and Rondo, they got into a heated exchange, is because Rondo knows the stuff that Chris Paul is doing. Now Rondo hasn't been no saint. He hasn't been no saint by any means, because Rondo has done some stuff too, to where you'd be like, man, this dude got the audacity to sit up there and try to fight somebody when he be doing some cheap shots and stuff like that too, you know. Um, and my thing is this: if you get it, and with Grayson Allen, right? When he pulled when he pulled Alex Caruso out of the air, oh boy! Now see that right there, that could have been really bad, and it already was bad because you took a man out of the air, and unfortunately he wasn't able to play for quite some time. But he got a taste of his own medicine. Okay, he got a taste of his own medicine, and that sends a message because a lot of players don't like that. When you have a reputation like that in the league, oh, they're gonna bring it for you because okay, yeah, it's all right, to be the bully. It's all right to bully other people and to try to impose your will, but you got to be able to take it too. You got to be able to take that physicality too as well. Or are you gonna shrivel up and then you're gonna cry and whine like a baby when that happens to you? And that's something that I see like you know the 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 Morris twins doing, because those guys right here, he's sitting up in there and he wants to justify his excuse for what happened with Jokic and everything like that. And some people were like saying good. Yeah, but I understand that, Lou, but we talking about this though, brother. We talking about this, man. Shout out to Lou the writer. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that a little later, man. I'm talking about this though, brother. Um, you know, Grayson Allen, he got a taste of his own medicine. And see, Grayson Allen, he was talented coming out of he was talented coming out of Duke. But the thing about it is I couldn't respect Grayson Allen because of the simple fact of what he was doing to players. And he played dirty too. Salute, Jelly Bean. I see you in the building. You just can't respect guys like that. You know, don't get me wrong. I like when a guy imposes a will. Like, okay, the guy that you could say that wasn't dirty on the Detroit Pistons back in the days, and I know I've gotten into you know debates about this before. It was Joe Dumars. Joe Dumars wasn't as dirty as some of those other guys that were on the team, right? He played good, hard nosed defense, and even a matter of fact, Michael Jordan, MJ had basically he has stated that Joe Dumars was the toughest defense that he faced. But see, the thing about Kobe is the thing about Michael Jordan, even Magic Johnson, even Larry Bird. Those guys wanted the physical nature defense. They actually liked that, because they wanted a challenge. They wanted a challenge. They wanted to be pushed to a whole nother level. And now it's like if you give physicality to a player or that type of physicality that you did back in the days, then guess what? Then okay, you done committed a felony, you know. So there's a big difference. Like they created they would create, sets of rules for guys, if they come through the middle, after a certain point, then you put them down on the ground and stuff. And that's just the way that it was, and some people saw it as dirty or unfair, but that's the way that they actually played. Now, I know that, like, let's say somebody fouls you. Okay, if somebody fouls you and then like they foul you hard, but they're holding you afterwards, okay, that right there, that's not dirty. But in this case right here, this is dirty. This is dirty right here. But some people might, back in the day, they might disagree with that. Or if you're in the hood or something like that, they might disagree with you on that. You know, when whenever he got a taste of his own medicine, and he was laying on the ground, and in this case that was Marcus Morris, but in this case, uh, Marquis Marquis Morris, you know, some people looked at Jokic as if he was a bad guy. What's up with it, Grinder? I see you in the building. Make sure y'all go subscribe to the number one Grinder. You know, and that's just what it is. But I don't feel sorry for Marquis Morris. Look, do I want the guy to still play? Am I glad that he's back from the neck injury? Yeah, but you brought it on yourself. So if somebody is gonna give you the same type of medicine, you can't expect for people to feel sorry for you. You can't expect to gain any type of sympathy, or be empathetic to what happened to you. And it's a man's game. The NBA, it used to stand for no bitches allowed. That's what it stood for. You know, but at the same token, there's a fine line. There's nothing wrong with playing really really physical. Like, okay, Ron Artest. Okay, he had a reputation for, he was a hard nosed player, but some of the tactics that they said he did, they said that it was kind of dirty. Which I don't, I tend to not agree with that. Now, if you're talking about when he when he elbowed James Harden at one time, he elbowed him in the head. It was real, real, real bad, man. Elbowed him real bad to the point where he knocked James Harden out. Okay, yeah, that right there, that was dirty. Okay, Karl Malone, same reputation. He had a reputation for being dirty. He had a reputation for being dirty. You know, and I don't believe in that, because in a play like the play with John Morant and the play with Marcus Morris, just think about, imagine if he had ended John Morant's career. That would have been on his conscience. And look, with the Marcus Smart situation yesterday, he was pretty much trying to talk to Steve Kerr, trying to let him know, okay, I didn't mean to do that. You know, Marcus Smart didn't mean to do that, man. He didn't mean to do that. That was unintentional. That was unintentional. It may have looked as if though he did it on purpose, but it wasn't. He would just, because in basketball you're taught to dive on the floor, and he dove on the floor pretty much throughout that game, and he wasn't the only one that dove on the floor. Also it was also several other players in that game that were diving on the floor too as well. We got to understand that you want to make him out to be a dirty player, when he really not. They say that what's his name, Bobby Porter's, they called him a dirty player, which is not true. He's just a high energy guy, a high energy, very physical guy. But if confrontation comes, then he'll be willing to do it. He'll be willing to go head forward with you. Guys, look, I know this, and I'm gonna say it again. When I was playing, everybody had a specific job, to play and everything. But the one thing that everybody had a common goal, or I should say, the same assignment, was to block out for the rebound, and also if the ball is on the floor. Hope the chat having an awesome evening. Well, it's afternoon over here. It's afternoon over here, True Viking. I don't know about you. It's afternoon over here, man. Shoot, but I forgot you're ahead. You over there on the East Coast. But yeah, shoot. I'm always having a good day. I'm just glad it ain't raining. I'm glad it ain't snowing. I'm glad it ain't freezing cold. But anyways, you were taught to dive on the floor, or even in the case of football, if the ball is loose, you jump on it so that you can save the ball. And Marcus Smart did that several times yesterday. That's always been his MO. It's nothing new what Marcus Smart has done. It's nothing new what Marcus Smart has done. Everybody act like, oh, this is why he just did this on purpose and everything like that. And no, he's always played that way. He's always played that way. You know, yeah. The same for Draymond Green. He dove on the floor yesterday, and it could have been bad, because of somebody's leg being in the way and everything. But does he get destroyed by social media? No. And even the case with when it came to Giannis, right? They want to sit up there. See, I'm tired of people saying that Giannis did that on purpose. There was a guy in my chat that said that Giannis had injured what you dig on purpose. He didn't do it on purpose. Well, he didn't mean to injure Kyrie Irving on purpose. And as a matter of fact, he wanted to check on Kyrie Irving. We got to stop making all these assumptions that a guy wants a guy hurt. Marcus Smart got a profound level of respect for not only Steve Kerr, but also Steph Curry as well. And these guys actually check on each other. But when it came to Marquis Morris and the Jokic situation, he didn't check on him. And that's why he got a taste of his own medicine. You could think all these international guys are soft if you want to. Shh, them guys, man, over there, war is nothing to them. War is nothing to them because that's what they got to go through. Look at the situation that's going on now. In our world. I'm not gonna go into deep on that, but I mean we gotta learn to make sure that we're categorizing the two in terms of hard nosed defense and just all out dirty play. Dennis Rodman, he wasn't, okay, did he do some stuff that was dirty? Absolutely. He did some stuff that was just, you say, man, what the hell is Dennis Rodman doing? like when he was tripping up Karl Malone, but he was a hard nosed player too, and he was a pest. But see, this is the thing that gets me about um, Shannon Sharp and guys like Skip Bayless. They're gonna sit up there and they're gonna say some stupid stuff talking about. You said Twin deserved that. Now you said Twin deserved that. Now he really knows what's up. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Look, all you're gonna do is wake a sleeping giant. That's all you're gonna do when you wake a sleeping giant. You look. You could say all that stuff that you want to, right? Let's say you're talking trash to somebody on the court, and that's a good point, Kevin Foster, by the way. Let's say you're talking all that trash on the floor. You saying everything, right? You disrespecting them, blah 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 blah. But once you say something that's out of bounds or out of pocket, like talking about a man's kids or talking about their wife or talking about their mom or their parents or something like that, it's certain lines that you don't cross with a lot of people. And some people are just gonna test you like that. Now that to me is dirty. But the trash talk that they were doing yesterday with Russell Westbrook and with LeBron James, that's just basketball. People are gonna call you trash all day. I mean, but it they kept it within line. They didn't say nothing about like when KG had said that to Melo. See that right there, that was dirty. He didn't have to do that. That was a low blow. He didn't have to do that. And I was disappointed in KG saying that, because but at the same token, it's sad to say, but it worked because it it got under the opponent's skin, and it was a psychological tactic, and it worked. It worked. But I did lose. I lost a lot of respect for our KG at that point in time. I still respected him as a player and everything. But I mean, if we're being honest about who's hard nosed and who's dirty and everything, we got to be able to decipher the two. We can't just put Marcus Smart in that category. And social media is gonna go wild, and they're gonna say, "Oh yeah, if it hadn't been for such and such, he wouldn't have got hurt." Now, let me talk about this situation right here. Some people called LeBron James a dirty player. Okay, and I'm bringing up his name. I know some of y'all don't want me to, but I had to bring it up. Uh, you know, they brought up the fact about LeBron James and the situation that happened in the air with Gordon Hayward. And to me, that was unfair to LeBron James, regardless of how you want to feel about him. He didn't mean to do that. He didn't mean to do that, like to pretty much alter that guy's career because we got to call it what it is. Gordon Hayward hasn't been the same ever since that injury. He has not been the same. And for people to sit up there and say, for people to sit up there and say that LeBron James did that on purpose, that wasn't right on him, and that's not fair. Now, they the New York Knicks with Pat Riley, to me that was just rugged physical play. You know, were there some cheap shots that were going on? Absolutely, that was going to happen, especially when you face a rival. When you know, but people enjoyed those games. I enjoyed, like I've said before, I enjoyed the Knicks versus the Pacers, or the Knicks versus the Chicago Bulls, or even like when it came, even earlier when the Boston Celtics had to face the Chicago Bulls or something like that, or even when we're talking about when we talk about the Lakers, and then when we also talk about uh, the Celtics, the game would get chippy, the game would get physical, you know. But I don't believe in taking guys' feet out. That's it. You can mess it. Bruce Bowen, Bruce Bowen messed up Vince Carter's career, in my opinion. Bruce Bowen messed up Vince Carter's career. He did, because he did it to him multiple times, and he was doing it to everybody. And I remember that play. I remember that play. You know, he was like a player that you had to brace yourself, especially when see, like right here, this right here, this is what you had to sustain. I'm gonna show y'all something right now. This right here is dirty. I'm gonna show you right now. Now, this right here is is not hard nosed. This right here is not hard nosed. That's that's dirty. That's dirty. And for those of y'all, hey, Hitman, if you see this, sorry man, had to put Roger Bell in there. But this was Roger Bell and Kobe. But it was a heated game. Especially those games, back in the West. I hate when people would say that, the Western Conference was less physical. The games with the Sacramento Kings and the LA Lakers used to get physical all the time. It used to get physical all the time. Whether it was the Spurs, and it would be the Spurs and the Phoenix Suns, or uh, you know, the Kings and the LA Lakers, whoever. They all used to get real physical. You know, like this right here. Now this right here, this is gonna trip y'all out right here. All right, and this is some of the stuff that they were doing back in the days. Now it wasn't every play. Yeah, yeah, you remember that? I know you remember that, Kevin Foster. I know you remember that. I remember that like it was yesterday too. But tell me if you remember this right here. You know, now this right here, this is dirty, and Kevin McHale got the utmost respect for him, but now that's clotheslining. That's similar to this right here. It's similar to this right here. You see? Look at that. Don't y'all see that? Now that's dirty. And look, we don't know what was being said, but those teams did not like each other. They did not like each other. So you see this one, then of course you see this one, and then of course you see this one. They could have been some very, very devastating injuries, you know? And a lot of it, a lot of it was because, Kobe Kobe was, he was damn near impossible to stop sometimes. Especially when he got in that zone when he was scoring. Yeah, yeah, and he was ready to fight too. But but see, everybody think like Kurt Rambis just because he has, had the goggles on, like he was some nerdy guy. Kurt Rambis was ready to fight too. He'd be ready to fight too. You know. Now, some you see some of this stuff. Now, of course, I mentioned and this is my Sixers. When you got to understand that back then this is some of the stuff that they were doing. Now, hold on one second. You said, hell yeah, a clothesline from Russia. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know, man. I know, I know. And look, look, some guys actually do go. My bad, y'all. All right. Now I know y'all remember this one. Everybody remembers that one. And that's Rick Mahorn, McNasty, McFilthy McNasty. That was when he was with the Sixers. What's up with it, Jacob? I see you in the building, bro. But see, that's you know that's what it was when you came through. And see, a lot of guys they didn't like Jordan continuously coming in time and time again, just scoring on them. And so they wanted to send a message. And if they happen to get into a heated exchange, that's just what it is. That's just what it was. Now this one, everybody always knows about this one, but they know about this guy. You know, they always know about that. Yeah, they'll get you. But see, that's in some people's eye, that's dirty. Now, Bill Lambert, you know, sometimes he would do what was necessary for you to, sometimes he would play solid defense, but sometimes, he would do the tactic just to go ahead and have you wanting to fight him, and that's what it was. But see, for Marquis Morris and the Morris brothers, those guys are pretty much doing this stuff like what Bill Lambert used to do. That's pretty much what it is. This that there's nothing clean about that foul right there. What Marcus Morris did, nothing clean about that. You know, and the thing about it is that, like, the level of disdain, like this right here. I think that you said he hated Michael. Yeah, of course he did. Everybody knows that. You said, "Oh, Bill with the shit," but Isaiah told his teammates to do that. Well, listen. Let me explain something. Let me explain something right there, though, too. Now, look, it wasn't just Isaiah, though. Okay, Bill Lambert had a big part in that too. You know, it was Bill Lambert, and me myself personally. I think that Joe Dumars he played good, clean, solid D though. His defense. If you go back and you go look at Joe Dumars, um, he was pretty much, because Jordan had said that he was the best defender that he had ever faced. But if you go back and you go look, Joe Dumars was playing solid defense on Jordan. And then there was times when Dennis Rodman, when he would play. That's why, like, I trip out. Okay, did Dennis Rodman do some tactics and some cheap shots and things like that? Yeah, absolutely. They always just show the main one where he pushed Scottie Pippen into the stands and all that stuff. But there was several others too as well. But Dennis Rodman could move his feet too. And everybody's like, oh well, he couldn't play in this era. Yes, he could, because they don't realize how fast and quick and athletic Dennis Rodman was. You know, but it wasn't just, they look at Isaiah as the ringleader, but matter of fact, it wasn't even Isaiah Thomas's idea to walk off the floor. It was actually Bill Lambert's idea. But the media won't. They got a disdain, hate for Isaiah Thomas, which is quite naturally so. Isaiah has brought a lot of stuff on himself, and doing some stuff and saying some stuff that he shouldn't have said. But I think collectively as a unit, because even John Sally was involved in it too. The whole Pistons. Even Joe Dumars to a certain extent, and Chuck Daly to a certain extent, but they were competitors. Now, I do believe that some of those guys, they did want Jordan hurt, which is wrong. Because if you wanted to do that, and you wanted to hurt Jordan, or you wanted to hurt any other player, then that's where you draw the line. But when you go up in the air, you're taking a risk. You're definitely taking a risk. But this right here, you know, that's how it was, man. And look, some guys, some guys they swing wrong. You said Chuck R.I.P. He would he would get pissed about the shit Isaiah was doing and shit. Yeah, I mean everybody, that's just the way it was, man. Some of it, some guys wanted to actually go out there and play, good physical nature basketball without fouling, but then you had your guys like your Bill Lambier, like your um well, Bruce Bowen, guys like that wanted to hurt you. And I hated what Bruce Bowen did to um Vince Carter's career. I hated it. Absolutely hated it. Because to me, like if you really hate that guy or something like that, my mentality is like beat him on the court. Like beat him on the court like, with your offensive game. You know, like this right here, is unnecessary. Some of it is unnecessary. Some of it can be controlled, but a lot of it, you know, it can't. Now the Alex Caruso. Now see, this is another guy who, I was talking about earlier in Zaza Pachulia. We all know that situation that happened with Kawhi Leonard and everything. We know that situation. Oh nah, I'll take Isaiah all day. True grinding as PG fast. These weak ass players now ain't about shit. Yeah, that's great. It was the only way for them to slow him down. Yeah, and you know, like, cause Michael Jordan had a very fast and quick first step, and they'll tell you, man, if you want to survive in the NBA, one of the things that will keep you in there is a good fast, either a good pull up jumper or a very good and fast first step. Like this right here, Jaja Pajulia, you know, he always had that reputation for that. That was on the late great Kobe Bryant. And then I remember this one too with Gordon Dragic. But Gordon Dragic was being all dramatic, but I mean, that was just like insane right there. The way he was like like a movie. He's like yeah, but yeah, man. But there's a difference between hard nosed fouls and or hard nosed players and dirty players. But I'll say it again. This right here, again, this was not a dirty play. This was just going after the ball. This was just going after a loose ball. Okay. I'm surprised you haven't shown Kurt Rambis clothesline from your grandma house. I already showed Kurt Rambis though. I mean, if you want to see it again, I'll show it again. I already showed that one though. This is the one you want to see. There you go. Right there. There you go. Right there, man. That's what you wanted to see. And Kurt Rambis will fight you too. I mean, don't get it twisted. I mean, people think that he was just, they think like guys like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar just because they had goggles and Hakeem Olajuwon he wore goggles, and guys like James Worthy that had goggles or something like that, and that these guys wouldn't fight you. And see, Kevin Foster, what I was bringing up is the fact that it was, you know, this was worse, but the I would say the landing could have been worse in this situation right here. In this situation, the landing could have been a lot worse in that situation, because you got to think about it. His legs are going all types of way. If maybe his arm would have went back or something like that, you know what I'm saying? It was a lot of stuff that could have happened. And then, of course, in this situation, this could have been, now as far as the head injuries, okay, yeah, that could have been real bad. But I'm just talking about, like, you know, legs and arms in general. Now, of course, there was the one with Patrick Beverly and that foul. Now, I think that this one right here, and this is when, and see, before hold on one second. Oh, you back like you never left, huh? We still here, man. We still here grinding, no matter what, man. The show don't stop over here. You know what I'm saying? They might stop other places or be like, I'm gonna dwindle down. Nah, not over here, man. We keep the show going, man. Um, Look, now this right here, to me, I lost a lot of respect for Pat Bev in this situation, and this was last year. Okay, now this right here could have been really, really terrible, especially for Chris Paul and his age. Think about what could have happened in this situation. Think about it. And that's dirty because of what he did afterwards. He was cheering, he was yelling. Think about what would have happened. What's up, Don Lovato? Think about what could have took place. I mean, could you imagine if this guy? See, this is dirty. This is dirty. What Marcus Smart did yesterday, that wasn't dirty, and that's what I'm trying to explain to people. You know, they're lighting him up. See, there's a difference between. Okay, listen. There's a difference between this, right? There's a difference between this. There's a difference between this, and there's definitely a difference between that. Okay, you classify which one was dirty and which one was not dirty. What's up, T Price? Man, good for you, bro. Keep working, man. You classify which one you think was dirty and which wasn't dirty. You know, but they called it. They call a simple basketball play, which you're taught to go. So Smart's kick to Clay was dirty too. I mean, if it was unintentional, if it was unintentional, then it wasn't dirty, man. This see what you have to understand. Okay, if you play basketball or if you play football before, they teach you to go after the ball when the ball is on the ground. They teach you to do that. What's up with it, Marco? I see you in the building, man. They gave him a flagrant. Kicked him out, I think. I mean, look, it shouldn't have been. Listen, Marcus Smart is not a dirty player, man. Like this, this right here, for the love of the sport, I want you to, I want you to be, I want you to pay close attention, okay? All right, I want you to pay close attention. This right here is dirty. This right here is dirty. That's dirty. This is dirty. This is dirty. That's dirty. He's putting his. You see what I'm saying? He's putting his head like he's not even going after the ball. This right here was intentional. You're undercutting somebody, and this guy, you know, CP3. Now CP3 has been known to be dirty himself and has been known to do cheap shots and things of that nature. Yeah, basketball play. You know, he was diving on the floor to go to go after the ball, after the loose ball. That's what you're supposed to do. That's what you're supposed to do. You know, but they want to classify, they want to sit up here and they want to say, oh well, you know, man, that was a dirty play by Marcus Smart and everything. Man, listen, taking people's feet out like Jaja Pachulia, that's dirty. That's dirty. But this right here, clean basketball play, just going after the ball. That, you know, that's two players going after the ball. And the thing about it is that Curry wasn't thinking nothing about it either. You got to be the judge, man. Like I said, there's a distinct difference between the two, between dirty play and hard nosed play. But a lot of people think that Chris Paul was selling it. I know. I know, doesn't it, Michael? Exactly, exactly. I mean, like when you look at it, like some bad stuff could have came out of that, man. Real bad stuff. And you possibly could have ended that man's career and the age that he's at. You know what I'm saying? People got to remember, Chris Paul ain't no spring chicken. Chris Paul getting up in age. Yeah, you would have thought it was a WWE match. I mean, for real. And look, I'm not gonna lie to you. If Chris Paul would have hit Pat Beverly, I wouldn't have been mad at him. But you know, I mean, it's no reason for that. And look, I was disappointed in Pat Bev, even though I like Pat Bev's defense. But even when he did that to Westbrook, I was disappointed in him because guess what? You kept Westbrook out for quite some time. You kept him out for quite some time, and there's no reason for that. That's dirty. But some people have the audacity to say that you said that would have been good on NBA or arch rivals. Yeah. Remember arch rivals, man? you know, like this one right here, back in the days when, that there was no reason for that. There was no reason for that. I'll take the cat down just for a minute. There's no reason for that right there. Clearly no reason for that. So Pat Beverly, man, he has that reputation for being dirty. He's got that reputation for being dirty. Um, the Morris brothers got that reputation for being dirty. Bill Laimbeer had it back in the days. Yeah, so you like that physical? Yeah, yeah. Arch rivals was yeah. That I used to like that, man. I used to play arch rivals. Um, and in terms of NFL Street, of course, NBA Jams, played all of that, man. When video games went hard, man. I mean, they go hard to a certain extent, but yeah, man. Guys got to understand, man. It's there's really a big difference, man. It's the difference between both of them. But what Marcus Smart did yesterday, and this is my last point, because then I got to go ahead and ride out, y'all. But what he did yesterday, that wasn't intentional. That was not intentional. So y'all let me know what you think, man. Leave your comments. Like the video, share it, subscribe, hit the notification. Polo Sports Talking Entertainment, and I'm out.